Greetings, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I have an insane amount of stuff to go through today because, as you may have noticed, there was no video last week. My best laid plans sort of fell by the wayside. First, just want to announce that those of you who are following the story about our cat and our sort of saga with her trials with diabetes and heart failure. Unfortunately, she passed away last week on the cusp of turning 10. She was just about 10 years old, and it was very sad. We were actually on the way to my mother-in-law, passed away a year ago. We were on the way to a ceremony in a remote field about 1,200 miles away to scatter her ashes in the field. And the 24 hours or so before that happened, our cat started really going into distress. We had all sorts of plans for home care, and we were like, we cannot go through with this. Leaving this for someone else to deal with, and leaving her like this. And we went to the vet hospital, and they said, yeah, she's not got but maybe hours if she's lucky. So that was a very tough thing, doing that and then getting on a plane. So anyway, the saga continued, and she's resting in peace now, and it was tragic, but we're trying to make the best of it and move on. So anyway, we'd had up to 3 cats at one point, and this was our last. And they're sort of, if when you don't have children, they're sort of like your kids, and nobody should have to say goodbye to their kids this way, and especially multiple times. So anyway, thank you all so much for your letters of support and kindness. That means a lot. So I better get into this today. I have no recommends because there are so many things. I'm covering a few things from last week and then this week, which is massive. So this is, we're in July now. So this is the week, July 5th/12th. Picking up a few pieces, and then I'll show you what's here for the 12th. So from the 5th, there were a couple of Grateful Dead reissues that came out last week. Reckoning and Dead Set. And both are double vinyl reissues from Rhino, who always does a great job. Produced for release by David Lemieux. Dead Set features Feel Like a Stranger, Little Red Rooster, Samson and Delilah, Fire on the Mountain. And Reckoning features Ripple, Direwolf, Cassidy, and Birdsong. And this one's more acoustic-y. So anyway, 2 of their most popular live records. I remember selling tons of that, both of them, on CD when they were only available on CD. So another thing that sort of slipped out in the last few days, Vince Guaraldi and his It Was a Short Summer, Charlie Brown. So they're continuing with this series of finding all of Vince's old Charlie Brown soundtracks and pressing them on vinyl. This is an indie exclusive version on Summer Night Blue vinyl. I think if you remember the one from Thanksgiving that came out last fall featured Little Birdie. This one is more chock-a-block with unheard or unsort of released Vince stuff. This one was originally, 1969. So a little bit earlier, before Vince discovered like Moog synthesizers and stuff like that. So pretty cool. I love that they're doing that because those are such strong memories for those of us who were kids that lived through that era. Another new release from last week, Fastball and Sonic Ranch. This is our first album in a really long time, I think. I don't know how long, at least the first one that I remember seeing. But this was produced by David Garza, and John Fields recorded in Minneapolis. Yeah, they were a great sort of tuneful rock trio. The Way was a huge hit in the 90s. Very catchy song. I have nothing against Fastball. I think it's funny, we just had another album come out from. There's been some similar bands that have been releasing records. There's been this sort of wave of Delamitri re releases. There's been, and they had new records. There was I'm trying to think of their name. I just saw Blue Rodeo had something come out. So there's a lot of this kind of like the catchy sort of Americana stuff. There were a couple of Blue Note tone poets that came out last week. Donald Byrd blows on Beacon Hill, which looks fantastic. This is one of those from the other series, this transition series, which is why there's nothing on the back. There's a thing inside that tells you what's on it. And the other one is Wayne Shorter's Odyssey of Iska. And this one, let's see what year these came out. It would help if I looked before. In 1971. This one features Dave Friedman on vibes, Ron Carter on bass, other people, Frank Cuomo on percussion and drums. This is a little more like getting sort of the experimental era of Wayne. People, I have to say, Wayne Shorter is one of the Blue Note artists that I get more positive response for about his entire catalog than almost any other. So, some Rhino reissues too. The Yes album, this is the Steven Wilson mixes version. Last year, this was released in that, I believe it was in that box set that came out, and they've excerpted it, taken it out, pressed it on sea blue vinyl, and their 1971 classic album remixed by Steven Wilson, Sounds of the Summer, I've Seen All Good People, Starship Trooper, and Yours Is No Disgrace. So that, another Rhino reissue, Genesis, and then there were 3. And also on sea blue vinyl, that seems to be the theme for this summer. On Rhino, 1978 album features Follow You, Follow Me, Many Too Many, and Deep in the Motherlode. This is sort of like when Phil started really asserting himself. I think he sang lead on Trick of the Tail, but and Jimmy Cliff, and this is a great album. It's a live record of hits. 1976 live album featuring his biggest hits. Lacquers cut from the original analog masters by Chris Bellman at Bernie Grunman Mastering. You're getting this for $26. You know, that's pretty great. Transparent red vinyl. Let's see, this features You Can Get It If You Really Want, Wild Worlds, The Harder They Come, Vietnam, Many Rivers to Cross, Struggling Man, Under the Sun, Moon and Stars, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, Fountain of Life. Jimmy's still making records. So Eagles, Greatest Hits Volume 2. This, I don't know if this is on, I think this is just black vinyl. But people sort of forget that there's a Volume 2 Greatest Hits because Volume 1 sells constantly. The blue one with the sort of like skull on it. But Volume 2, huge hits in this. Hotel California, Heartache Tonight, New Kid in Town, The Long Run, Seven Bridges Road, Life in the Fast Lane. So, you know, it's still, the Eagles were still very, very popular through the late 70s. And then another, this is part of the Now Playing series, George Benson. And I love this series. This is on sea blue vinyl. Features This Masquerade, Breezin', Greatest Love of All, the original version, Give Me the Night, on Broadway live, Turn Your Love Around, Never Give Up on a Good Thing. So it's got a lot of the, it's all the hits. George, you know, you can find his records a lot in stores, but it's kind of nice to have all the hits in one spot. Van Morrison, I mean, what a great addition to the Now Playing catalog for $20 on sea blue vinyl. You get Sweet Thing, Cypress Avenue, The Way Young Lovers Do, Into the Mystic, Crazy Love, Caravan, Moon Dance, Domino, Call Me Up in Dreamland, and Blue Money. They're sort of nondescript on the back, but you know, it's sort of like a kind of a nice There's a cool summer compilation to a Sounds of Summer thing that looked really great. And there are a bunch of music on vinyl things that have come out, and I don't remember if I showed this one or not, but Vaughan Brothers Family Style. This was limited to 2,000 on blue vinyl, produced by Nile Rodgers, who had just done Let's Dance and had Stevie Ray play on that for David Bowie. Let's see, features Hard to Be, White Boots, Good Texan, Hillbillies from Outer Space, Brothers, sort of a classic record. And then also, I was excited to see this because I'm a big New Order fan. Monaco. This is Peter Hook's side project from the 90s. Originally, he started a little band called Revenge and decided to reboot it under the name Monaco with David Potts in the mid 90s. This had a big alternative rock hit in the US called What Do You Want From Me? That's a really great song. Also features Sweet Lips. It's got 6 bonus tracks, four B-sides and 2 remixes, limited edition orange vinyl, 180 gram, a really nice double vinyl for Music on Vinyl. Thank you for doing this album, Music on Vinyl. Hopefully the second one gets pressed at some point. It was on a different label, and it's kind of more difficult to get to because that label went defunct. Warsaw, this is, speaking of New Order, early Joy Division, when they were going by the name Warsaw. Features Peter Hook on bass, Ian Curtis on vocals. So, you are getting pretty much the Joy Division thing. Bernard Albrecht on guitar, and Bernard Sumner, and Stephen Morris on drums on most of it, and then Steve Brotherdale did drums on a few tracks that are bonus tracks. But this is pretty cool, right? If you don't have Warsaw and you're a Joy Division fan, get it, and it's cheap. It's like $20. Okay, there were some other Music on Vinyl things that sort of have been sneaking in. I don't know if I showed them all. Living Color Time's Up, which was I think their second album, featured Information Overload. What other songs? Time's Up, History Lesson, Pride, Love Rears Its Ugly Head. Produced by Ed Stasium. They were trying to diversify a little bit because their first album was, I don't know, Vernon Reid is a talented guy. So Bill Evans, this is an interesting Music on Vinyl piece called Momentum. And this is available on vinyl for the first time. Includes Nardis, Emily, and What Are You Doing the Rest of Your Life. I don't know if this is some kind of German release or something. It looks very like the words are in German or some other Netherlands, so Dutch language, and so it must have been some sort of release that's overseas that's they're pressing on vinyl and then putting out here. Let's see, so many things, guys, so many things. King's X and their self-titled album, this is limited to 1,000 on gold color vinyl. Another Music on Vinyl pressing. The World Around Me, Prisoner, Big Picture, Junior's Gone Wild. Man, that's a great picture on the back. I love Doug Pinnick's hair right there. King's X was a band that, like, when I first started working in a record store, the guys I worked with played them constantly, so I'm pretty familiar with early King's X. Mudvayne, there were a couple of reissues. Mudvayne, this one was probably the most popular, LD50. I think there were two others that came out, but that's their debut, I believe. If you're into 90s sort of rock, metal, grunge, whatever. Yes, Talk. You probably have seen the CD box behind me. The vinyl release came out. This is double vinyl, and it features the Calling special version on side 4, which is 8 minutes long. So the last time I think Trevor Rabin was in that band. And Julian Cope, Fried. This is the second of the Julian reissues that are coming out. I don't know how many there are planned. I think Jehovah Kill was the one I saw planned next, so they must be skipping around. But let's see. Reynard the Fox, Bill Drummond said, Laughing Boy. Um, yeah. I mean, I think Julian is kind of strangely, not strangely, he's sort of an ignored genius in a way. Um, Very talented guy and smart, and but got really into psychedelia, and I think to the point that people were sort of like, we don't know, we don't know what to do with his career at this point. Bella Fleck, Rhapsody in Blue. Bella is a bluegrass jazz banjo player, among other things. Is Rhapsody in Blue expands and explores the American classic, featuring Eric Jacobson and the Virginia Symphony Orchestra, My Bluegrass Heart, Sam Bush, Jerry Douglas, Victor Wooten, and more. So if you know any of those people, it's kind of cool. Um, Unidentified Piece for Banjo. Great name for a track. All right. Let's see. So that basically pretty much encapsulated last week. Let me get started with this week. First thing I guess I should start with is a big thing. Now, there are a couple things here I don't have to show. One is I'm going to show the John Lennon record, but I don't have the CD box that is coming, I think today or tomorrow. And Eric Clapton has not shown up yet either. So, but it is supposedly on the way. Van Halen, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. This is the box set that they've been talking about now for a couple of months. So, interestingly, last fall they released the box set that had all of the Sammy Hagar albums in it. And now they decide to take this out and expand it on its own. This runs about $100, which is not a bad deal considering it's 2 records and 2 CDs and a Blu-ray, I think. So disc 1 or LPs 1 and 2 is the actual album. And then disc 2, rarities and live. There's a bunch of tracks there. Actually, I think those might just be on CD. And then disc 3 is the Blu-ray. So it's a way of getting this album and getting it with a bunch of extras. You can kind of see why they didn't want to put this out before the other box, because they wanted to give people the chance to get all of the albums and then decide whether or not they want these. But I don't know. This has on the CD, there's other tracks like Pound Cake, Judgment Day, some of the stuff that was on, but there's also like previously unreleased versions of them. So a lot of them are live. Actually, all of those are. So it's a live show, and then some extra single mixes and things like that. Videos are on the Blu-ray, and then the live shows on the Blu-ray too. So if you're a Van Halen completist, you probably want this. There was another version online that had a bunch of 45s with it, but those are exclusive online, and was also $50 more. So and I think they're sold out. So anyway, Van Halen fans, take note. All right, Phish. Phish's latest album, Evolve. It's been quite a while since we got anything from Phish new. This is the Indie Record Shop exclusive 2 LP Solar Discus colored pressing. New studio album from Phish featuring Evolve, Oblivion, and Pillow Jets includes exclusive track The Well, available only on vinyl. So if you want all the tracks, I'm sorry, CD people, but you're gonna have to buy the vinyl. Billy Strings Live Volume 1, and this is the blue vinyl, translucent blue vinyl indie store edition of that. Had a lot of people asking for this. The guy's also an incredible player. Dust in a Baggie, Away from the Mire, Long Forgotten Dream, ends with Richard Petty, produced by Billy Strings. Richard Petty. All right. Duff McKagan, this is a live record, Tenderness, live in Los Angeles, and Duff, being ex Guns N' Roses or back in Guns N' Roses, celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the album Tenderness with this live set recorded in Los Angeles in 2019, mixed by Shooter Jennings. Yeah, so if you like that record, or if you would prefer a live version of it. Cigarettes After Sex. This band, their first album totally won me over. Second album, it sounded too happy for my taste, but it was still pretty to listen to. So I can't wait to hear what they do now that they've had a little time to come up with a third record. It's called X's, X apostrophe S, pressed on crystal clear vinyl. I don't know, it looks from the song titles that maybe, Holding You, Holding Me, Dark Vacay, Dreams from Bunker Hill, Baby Blue Movie, Ambient Slide. It's sort of like, I think they were featured in the Twin Peaks reboot that David Lynch did as one of the Roadhouse bands, and if they weren't, they should have been, because that their sound is perfect for that kind of thing. It's very dreamy, and sometimes kooky lyrics, but dreamy music. Clairo and her new album Charm. Clairo was an artist that really sort of like broke out the last time she released a record, and kind of in that group of like Lorde type female singer-songwriters. And so it's been a little while, and I think people are really interested to hear what she's coming up with now. And another sort of new female artist of note, Remy Wolf, and this is her new album, Big Ideas. I don't know much about her. I just know that the kids are asking for her. It's part of the TikTok generation, right? Okay, I have more. Ani DeFranco and her brand new album, Unprecedented Shit. 23rd studio album. Wow. Limited edition Coke bottle clear vinyl. Let's see. Featuring Baby Row, You Forgot to Speak, and Virus. So I'm assuming some of this was constructed during the pandemic. A new album from Cassandra Jenkins, My Light, My Destroyer. I kind of love this album cover. Limited edition pink clear wave vinyl. And it's on Dead Oceans Records. There's a track called Shatner's Theme, a track called Clams Casino, and a track called Beetlejuice, and also one called Aurora, Illinois. So any of my friends out in Illinois there, maybe you want to check that out. As I said, I've got the John Lennon, this is the Mind Games expanded reissue. It's like $50 for the vinyl. 2 LPs, poster, 2 postcards, outtakes, ultimate mixes, 8-page booklet, completely remixed from the original multi-tracks. So there is a box set on CD for this that's very complete. That's sort of like this Bowie box set that I'm pointing at here that was for Ziggy Stardust. The Lennon CD box set runs in the $170 range, so it's pretty expansive compared to the $50 record. There's a 2 CD version that's sort of distilled from that massive set. So there is that, and yeah, so that there's that as a choice. Also, if you don't want to go full on with the big box. Rolling Stones Voodoo Lounge gets yet another reissue, this time on red and yellow vinyl for the 30th anniversary. So I believe it's the same basic album. I don't know if I don't think they added anything to it, but it's sort of ketchup and mustard color. It's what I like to associate with that. So anyway, there's that. Ace Frehley, Frehley's Comet, This was what, the first, I believe, of his albums away from Kiss. Rock Soldiers, Break Out, Into the Night. Love Me Right. I should have said that Voodoo Lounge features Love Is Strong and You Got Me Rockin'. Those were kind of like the big songs from that. But yeah, Frehley's Comet. I think that's on Friday Music. Yeah, Friday Music. So probably color vinyl, but you won't know it because they won't tell you on the outside because there's no sticker, as is Friday Music's traditions. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. This came out on CD. That, yeah, like well, I'm pointing way off there. There, came out on CD a couple weeks ago, and so this is the vinyl, and it's more highlights. But a historic night in the summer of '68 at the famous West Hollywood nightclub, featuring highlights from 3 sets of music newly mixed and mastered from the original tapes on 2 LPs. So if you're more of a vinyl person, there you go. Jimmy Buffett, well, they continue with his catalog, Havana Daydreaming, and this is reissued as a gatefold and newly remastered back on vinyl for the first time in decades, featuring Havana Daydreaming, Captain and the Kid, and Woman Going Crazy on Caroline Street. Another Jimmy Buffett reissue, remaster, is White Sport Coat and a Pink Crustacean. And this one newly remastered back on the vinyl for the first time in decades, featuring Grapefruit Juicy Fruit, The Great Filling Station Holdup, and Why Don't We Get Drunk? And probably the one of most interest for people, I suppose, here, if they don't have, well, they might only have this on CD, I would say, is Banana Wind. And this album came out in the 90s. I don't think it's ever been on vinyl. This says newly remastered on 2 LPs. So maybe it was, but it was probably super limited. It features Jamaica Mistake, Schoolboy Heart, and a hidden bonus track. So, yeah, produced by Russ Kunkel. Also had Desdemona's Building a Rocket Ship. So 3 more. There were already 3 that came out about a month ago. Fruitcakes being the one that was sort of mostly wanted there because it had not been on vinyl before, I don't think. John Lee Hooker, The Best of Friends. It's great seeing this out on vinyl. This was one of his best later albums, a 1998 collection of some of his finest collaborations. And this featured Charles Brown, Ry Cooder, Ben Harper, Los Lobos, Charlie Musselwhite, Carlos Santana, Eric Clapton, Robert Cray, Booker T, Van Morrison, Bonnie Raitt, and Jimmy Vaughn. Quite a lineup of guest stars there. Cool to see that back in print on vinyl. Another album that I loved from the late 90s, that's the first time I've seen it on vinyl. Shelby Lynn's I Am Shelby Lynn, 25th anniversary. And this is on Monument Records, which I always associate with Roy Orbison. But features Leavin' was the single from this. Kind of, and Life is Bad. Thought it would be easier. Your Lies. Gotta Get Back. Why Can't You Be? Looking Up. Dream Somewhere I'm From. And Black Light Blue. Produced by Bill Bottrell, who did work on Sheryl Crow's Tuesday Night Music Club. And this is a really great record, and cool to see that back. Another great record from there's a bunch of 90s love this week. The Donnas, Spend the Night. What a great pop rock record this is. Take It Off for the Ultimate Party. Hot pink vinyl, includes inner sleeve with lyrics, and the Donnas went all glammy for this cover too. I always love the back, it's hysterical. Anyway, features It's on the Rocks, Take It Off, Who Invited You, All Messed Up, Dirty Denim, You Want to Get Me High, and I Don't Care, So There. And then it goes on and on with, that's the A side. Their songs are all kind of short, punky, pop rocky, fun. All right, I got to give a little bit of an RIP here to Shifty Shellshock, who just recently passed away at age 49. The guy had problems for a while, but and now they choose now to reissue the Crazy Town debut album, The Gift of Game. This is a way overdue vinyl debut of this 1999 rap metal classic. And yeah, The Gift of Game. This is on a yellow butterfly pressing. It's kind of a yellow that's like marbled. And then there's also this version that's on a red, let's see, Red Devil velvet pressing. They're identical, they just are different colors of vinyl. But there you go. Shifty. Let's see. Songs like Only When I'm Drunk, Toxic, not the Britney one, Face the Music, yeah, B-Boy 2000. I mean, if you're into like Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, it is music of an era for sure. So a couple of interesting things here from Nick Mason. These I haven't seen these in decades. Nick Mason's Fictitious Sports. He's the drummer of Pink Floyd, by the way, and Mason and Fenn, which Rick Fenn is a member of 10cc, and these were two albums that Nick Mason did back in the day. Let's see. This one, they say, thanks to Mel Collins, produced by the two of them. Anyway, yeah, Pink Floyd fans, take note. Maybe you missed them a first time around, or you just want a really good pressing. On to a little bit of jazz here. Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. There's so much stuff. Louis Armstrong, Louis in London. So this is the last great performance by the most influential American musician of all time, says the sticker. And this is a pretty great track listing, actually. And this is kind of an unearthed, I'm not sure this had been released before. This was recorded July 2nd, 1968. So what, 56 years ago, last week? For Show of the Week, Louis Armstrong on BBC TV, produced by Roger Hurrell, first broadcast September 22nd, 1968. This features When It's Sleepy Time Down South, Indiana, A Kiss to Build a Dream On, Hello Dolly, Mame, You'll Never Walk Alone, Ole Miss, Blueberry Hill, Mac the Knife, Rockin' Chair, The Bare Necessities, What a Wonderful World, and When the Saints Go Marching In. I can't think of too much Louis that's super iconic that you're sort of missing there, but and then a couple of these are very interesting. Blue Note has started a series for their 85th birthday, and they're pressing records on blue vinyl, and they're only doing for indie stores that I know of, and they're picking 10 titles to do. So these are going to be very limited, and then once they're gone, they're gone, and these blue vinyl versions will probably be very collectible. But Lee Morgan's Sidewinder and Cannonball Adderley's Something Else are the first two. Now, if you have these records already, if you bought like the 80th edition, these are, I think they're the same mastering. I'm not really sure. But the fact that they're on blue vinyl and the record label is called Blue Note and they come with these cool OB strips, you may want to consider like trading yours up or giving them to friends who you think would enjoy those and getting these before they're gone. Just a thought, because these things happen sometimes. On the Verve Acoustic Sound series, Sonny Stitt blows the blues. And this is mastered from the original analog tapes at QRP. Last week, I think we had a Johnny Hodges record. So they're kind of, they've been sort of doing like one a week instead of a couple at once, or they kind of break them up and spread them out whenever they think they can get them out. So I'm sure that sounds great, and that's an era of Sonny Stitt that needs to be more explored. A couple of Verve by request this week. Oscar Peterson Trio, a jazz portrait of Frank Sinatra. This looks amazing. I have not heard this, but Ray Brown is on bass and Eric Thigpen on drums. You Make Me Feel So Young, Come Dance With Me, Witchcraft, Tender Trap. It Happened in Monterey, I Get a Kick Out of You, All of Me. Some really beautiful stuff. The other one this week on Verve by Request is Dizzy Gillespie's The Ebullient Mr. Gillespie. And this features Swing Low, Sweet Cadillac, Always, Willow Weep for Me, Ungawa, Lorraine, Constantinople. So, Verve by Request. I think they're sort of upping their game a little bit as they've gone along. So, and Presta Third Man. This actually came out, I want to say like 2 years ago, but this is a completely different package and it's much nicer. I think when they did these before, the jackets were really flimsy. So now they've come up with a deluxe gloss tip-on jacket and cut from the analog master tapes by Bernie Grunman. He's doing some of these Bethlehem records. This is Charles Mingus, called Charlie Mingus here. Jazz Experiments of Charlie Mingus. This features What Is This Thing Called Love, Minor Intrusion, Stormy Weather, Four Hands, Thrice Upon a Time, and The Spur of the Moment. Thad Jones is on trumpet. This very early Charles Mingus, 1957. Let's see. Dr. John and Frankie and Johnny. And this is a lost solo piano record from the Night Tripper, originally put to tape in 1982 and 83 for the Clean Cuts label. These tracks have remained unheard until now. 2 numbers feature the Doc's raspy growl, while his solo piano navigates us through the rest of the train ride. Something about a dusty tape box. So, unreleased Dr. John, mostly instrumental. Tom York. Yes, the Tom York of Radiohead, Confidenza. This is his new soundtrack score to that film by Daniele Lucchetti, and written and performed by Tom York. Strings performed by London Contemporary Orchestra. I'm sure it's very atmospheric. The front cover artwork was by Tom York, actually. So, Confidenza is the name of that. This is on limited edition cream vinyl. Brian Eno, and this is a soundtrack from Brian. This is the official soundtrack to the generative film Eno, a definitive documentary about Brian Eno. 2 LP recycled black vinyl, 17 career spanning tracks, 3 previously unreleased. You get quite a bit on this, although I did notice I didn't think any of his Carl Hyde collaborations are here, but I do see Everything That Happens, David Byrne and Brian Eno together. Spinning Away, Brian Eno and John Cale. Come On, Fred Again with Brian Eno, interesting. HQ, Renoma by Cluster with Brian Eno. Daniel Lanois, Roger Eno. Anyway, Leo Abrams, bunch of other people on this. Yeah, if you're into Brian Eno, that's a pretty cool. I do believe there might be a CD for that too. It's interesting, a Julia Holter soundtrack that she wrote music for, never before released in any physical format. The album Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is the name of it. And it's Julia Holter's mesmerizing soundtrack for the timely 2020 film that's become an indie classic. So I guess it had never been released, the music, before, and Julia did the music, and here you go. Now you can get it on vinyl. Probably not going to be around for very long. I bet they made I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than like a couple hundred or few hundred of that. Marty Robbins, and this is Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. And this has been out before, but this is a new version taken from the original mono master tapes. Silver and red, bullets and blood vinyl pressing. So it's color vinyl and it's from the original mono master tapes. Big Iron, Cool Water, El Paso, In the Valley. Yeah. If you want good old cowboy music, listening. This is interesting too. First U.S. reissue, an underground 1968 psychedelic classic from the legendary Bosstown Sound on Coke Clear with yellow swirl vinyl, limited to 700 copies. This looks like kind of like a psychedelic, like stoner rock sort of thing, or like I don't know. I don't know how stoner it is, but definitely more psychedelic. So Peter Malick on guitars. Anyway, for those of you interested in more underground 60s stuff, now there's a bunch of Motown stuff being reissued this week. The Supremes, I Hear a Symphony. This is on green vinyl from the Elemental label. This was their 8th studio album. It was a successful attempt to further bridge the gap between traditional pop music and traditional Motown sounds. I mean, I Hear a Symphony was a big hit for them. Also had Yesterday, Unchained Melody. The little was skewed a little bit more, sort of like bringing in older listeners too. This looks great. Marvin Gaye and Mary Wells did an album together called Together, and also from Elemental. This is the first and only studio album recorded by the duo of these two American artists. It was released April 1964. It became the first charted album credited to Gaye, peaking at number 42 on the Billboard Pop Albums chart and yielding 2 top 20 singles, Once Upon a Time and What's the Matter with You Baby. Mary Wells left Motown shortly afterwards upon reaching 21. So I didn't realize she was with them for such a short time. Anyway, and this is a stone cold classic, The Temptations' Cloud 9. And this is also Elemental, the 9th studio album by the Temps for the Motown label. It was released in 1969 and marked a major turning point in their career. It was the first full Temp studio album to feature Dennis Edwards as the replacement for David Ruffin, who was fired in June of '68, and also marked the beginning of the group's delve into psychedelic soul under Norman Whitfield. The change proved highly successful, with the album rising to number 4 on the Billboard chart and earning them their first Grammy Award. It received 4.5 stars from AllMusic, with Amy Hansen reviewing, stating that this is an album that would become one of the defining early funk sets, with songs that not only took Motown in a new direction, but helped to shape a genre as well. Shape a genre. Features Cloud 9, which is quite a long track, I believe. Side A only has 3 songs on it, but that's because it's so long. Also features There I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Really great record. All right. A couple things left here. Lupe Fiasco, and fresh off his sort of fight with his record label, they gave him a Now Playing collection, and he's sort of what I call like a conscious rapper, I suppose. The Show Goes On, Hip Hop Saved My Life featuring Nikki Jean, Around My Way, Kick Push, Superstar featuring Matthew Santos, Till I Get There, Sunshine, Paris Tokyo, Hurt Me Soul, and All Black Everything. So kind of a greatest hits on laser red transparent vinyl. But he keeps releasing records. He just put one out a couple weeks ago, and I'm sold out of it already, called Samurai. Hopefully we'll get more of those. And then this awesome Breakers Revenge compilation on Soul Jazz Records. If you're into breakdance music or want to get into it, original B-boy and B-girl breakdance classics of 1970 to 84, presented by Arthur Baker. It's a very iconic music producer, featuring Africa Bambaataa, Jimmy Castor Bunch, James Brown, Manu Dibango, the Mohawks, Candido, Dennis Coffey, and more. Cool collection. All right, and then there's a few CDs type things I want to show here. Beak, which is a side project of Barrows, Jeff Barrows of Portishead, Barrow. This is, I think, their fourth record. The Dip, Love Direction. The Dip is sort of a funk soul band, which I think this is also available on vinyl, but I haven't seen it come in yet. Anyway, Travis, longtime British rock band. This is their new record, LA Times, and we've got a song called Gaslight. And finally, Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, and this is the Blu-ray Dolby Atmos edition, 21 times certified platinum. So that means 21 million copies in the US, I think. A limited edition includes Blu-ray. Blu-ray includes Dolby Atmos mix, 5.1 surround mix, and high-res stereo. So that may be of note to some people. All right. Is it July? That is a lot of stuff. I just talked for over 45 minutes about the last 2 weeks of releases. Insane. So, and there's more coming every day. Like I said, Eric Clapton's on the way, and more of the Lennon stuff. So thanks, everybody. Thank you for staying supportive through all this. It's been a very kind of heavy time personally, and I appreciate all of the kind comments, and thank you so much. And keep watching and keep supporting the store, because the only way that we keep doing these videos is if you keep buying the stuff. And if you don't keep buying the stuff, then you might not see as much. So, all right, take care. Thank you. Have a wonderful mid-July. Peace. Hopefully we get more rain here on the east without massive storm action. All right, take care. Bye.